Warning, please keep your volume low. Due to a bad audio feed from PAX, we could not control some of the awful sound that you may hear. Thank you for understanding and enjoy this awesome pinball panel from PAX.
Big thanks to Mark Busler of the Classic Game Room YouTube channel. If you haven't seen Classic Game Room on YouTube, there's a lot of great stuff. He does some pinball, mostly console games, and there's hundreds of great videos. They're reviews, but not really. They're entertainment. Hi, I'm Bowen Cairns. Thanks for coming. I am the World Pinball Champion. With us over there is Kaylee George, who was the world champion, the IFPA world champion 2 years ago, along with Kevin Burrell, Bobby Conover, and Chase Nunez, and we are busily trying to get things set up in the right way. We thought we had it, but we don't. Don't worry, we will. So I'd like to show you a little bit about pinball, as well as what we're doing with Papa TV. And Papa TV is, as you'll see with the top-down camera we're setting up here, and it works when we're doing pinball tournaments. This is our chance to live broadcast pinball tournaments in the same ways that video game events are taking off. We don't know whether to call it an e-sport or not, because it's not an e-sport. It's a real physical ball rolling around there hitting with the flippers. And players come live to events. Our first event that was live streamed was the Pinburg Championship with Chase Nunez of Geek Gamer TV. And we just broadcast the Papa 16 World Pinball Championships just a few weeks ago. So here's a clip from the finals. And there's commentary, so I'll shut up for a little while.
It's all set to go, and here we go. Very nice to have passed there. I'm sure Bowen spent the last 10 minutes waiting for a second ball, thinking about that sequence right there.
Shut up, Adam.
So nice getting right into the multi-ball. Now when the pressure's on, Bowen shooting the brick wall while it's still up.
So there's 3 balls in play here, and one of the objectives is to get control of the balls if you can. Ideally, to have 1 on each flipper. 2 on 1 flipper is bad.
He has seen that you can't roll it up because the sling fires, so that's a great adjustment.
That was perfect. Drop
Two stage. No, Bowen doesn't two stage. Got it anyway. Is that 2?
That's 2.
You have to get the flashing red shot at the top is a jackpot. 4 jackpots. Like a super bonus for an extra 100 million.
Yeah, he waited to hit that ball to make sure it caused trouble. Oh, wow, very nice.
In a con.
Bowen turned to Will Kahn. Nice.
The Will's been done. Look at his eyes. Look at his eyes.
He's gone from regular multiball to con in alternate games. It's nice to get, when you're in that multiball rhythm, to play back to back. Jackpot's doubled.
Nice.
On the battlefield.
Nice.
All right.
Level up and under.
And you get to wait as long as you want sometimes. If you want to think about what you're doing, you can.
It's my favorite. This is my favorite.
Tap over, but there's no tap on that flipper. We saw Keeper's one earlier. Nice shot. Doubled up again.
And you can see the flashing red lights again. There are 5 flashing red lights. I've taken out 3 of them. Left ramp.
Right ramp. Solid. Oh wow, he's got 2 balls in the UK. The other one's still there. Trying to, he gets it.
We've been told that it's just going to be a couple more minutes for the video. I want to apologize for the delay. We'll take a couple of things we wanted to do in the middle and put them forward. Tell you a little bit about, we'll tell you how to play. Don't worry, we really will, I promise. So thanks for hanging with us. Is there a better mic, or is this? I'll just try to hold it far enough away that I don't overwhelm everybody. Tell you a little bit about where to play in Seattle. It's very fortunate if you're looking to play pinball in Seattle. There are a lot of great places to play. Full Tilt Ice Cream in Ballard is Bobby Conover's place. He brought the Tron here today. Big thanks to him for bringing the game. It's very difficult to move these machines. And he's got about, 8, 10, 11 games? 13 pinball machines set up in an ice cream parlor. That's hard to do. You basically take over the entire ice cream parlor at that point, and they're all in great condition, games from the 80s, 90s, and today. There's also in Chinatown the Seattle Pinball Museum with games dating back to through the 60s, 70s, 80s. Two places called Addaball and John John's that are kind of paired, owned by the same ownership. Shorty's in Belltown, Shorty Dogs. They've got about 15 pins, and so really in Seattle there's over 200 pinball machines around the city in different places. There's also a league that meets every month called Seattle Pinball League you can look into, and there are weekly meetings at Full Tilt Ice Cream and other places that are weekly tournaments. There is also a show every June called the Northwest Pinball and Arcade Show, and thank you. It's a very good show, and it has not only pinball but also arcade games. So those are the people who set up the classic gaming arcade on the 3rd floor. If you haven't been there, it's got some great stuff over there, pinballs and vids. If you are not from Seattle, you should look into something called Pinball Map. And even if you are from Seattle, Pinball Map will tell you what is where. So you can find a specific game, you can find the locations in town. If you're from Portland, you may know there's over 500 pinball machines in the city of Portland, more in Portland than in New York, which is kind of strange, but that's Portland, I guess. And pinballmap.com will tell you where those are. Also for events, there's a group called the International Flipper Pinball Association that operates a detailed calendar of events, and they maintain the rankings worldwide as well at ifpapinball.com. Or if you just look up IFPA, you'll find them. PAPA operates a circuit of pinball tournaments, and one of our goals is promoting it as a sport in the same ways that real sports get promoted. So we worked with some local organizers to create a series of tournaments with good prize pools, one per month, all over the map in the U.S., with the eventual goal of going worldwide with that. And players earn points for top 24 finishes at tournaments. If you're in the top 20 at the end of the circuit, you get to play in the circuit final at our headquarters, which you just saw in the other video, for $10,000 in prizes. And that is for free, so there's no entry fee to people who qualify for circuit final, and that is also live on the air with commentary. This past year, a player went from the number 19 seed going through the entire field to make it to the final round of the Final Four. And Chase has been progressively posting the videos from that final on YouTube. And we don't want to spoil the ending because we posted up to game 4 of that 7-game series. But he came from Italy, and he's pretty damn good. We weren't able to get this picture, but the winner got this belt. So if we go out on the internet, we can find the belt. If you look at Papa Circuit, you'll see basically it's the same guys who make the WWF belts made a belt for us, and it's badass. I wish I could win it, but I'm not eligible, and it's pretty great. Kaylee was in that tournament, but unfortunately, you got bumped out on some game. I forget. You got dogged. It wasn't fair. There's a schedule of the tournaments. Some have already gone by. There's one in the local area in Marysville, Washington. bdivision.com is the website, and that runs every June, the Northwest Pinball Championships. So there's a show and a championship. And there was about over $10,000 in prizes in the Northwest Pinball Championship. Pinburg is the largest tournament in the world, 60,000 in prizes. And Pittsburgh also runs the World Championship with 45,000 in prizes. Overall, for the entire circuit, the final will be in March 2014, and the total prize money for the circuit is estimated at $150,000 for this year for just those 12 tournaments. If you look worldwide at all tournaments, there's over $250,000 in prize money in pinball, and no one can make a living off just that unless they want all the money at every position at every tournament. But so far, that hasn't worked out for me. We are also, as you saw Papa TV already. Papa TV you can find on Twitch as well as recasts on YouTube. And the goal for Papa TV is to bring a live tournament every month. Was anyone here who was part of the Papa TV Kickstarter? Thank you guys so much for doing that. We raised $58,000. And there were quite a few promises along with that. And one promise is to live cast 12 tournaments starting in October of next year. We're live casting about 6 or 8 of them this year. And we're also going to be driving from Pittsburgh to Los Angeles and back, setting up a pinball machine at different places around the country and then doing that live on the air as well. So Papa TV, you can find at our website, papa.tv, which will link to Twitch as well. And it's going to eventually be a portal for all things pinball as well. So if you take only one thing, just look up Papa TV sometime, and it's pretty good. These are our other contacts. The live stream channel is on Twitch, but papa.tv will get you there. We've got Twitter, we got blogs, we got all the usual crap. But come say hi. There are lots of pinball events, and someone from Papa is surely there, and the pinball community is a really terrific set of people, and we hope that you'll join us. How are we doing?
I think we're good.
We're good?
We got a
Shaky
shaky cam.
cam. Aww. Well, we have Cam. That's good. Cam is good. All right. How we doing? Let's flip over. It's shaky cam with a green square, but it's Cam. All right. So as we start off here, I'd like to just tell you a little bit about aiming in pinball. And basically, any shot you can take with a flipper and try to make it. It's the timing of the flipper. So if you're brand new to pinball, the first thing is don't flip both flippers at the time. Just flip for shots. This is Tron Legacy from the movie some people saw. And it has 3 flippers. You'll see 2 flippers at the bottom and then 1 extra flipper at the top. So if you're also new to pinball, you're going to want to look for extra flippers. This game has them. What Kaylee is doing here is transfer moves at the beginning here to move the ball from one side to the other. This is called a post transfer. I don't know if you can move that out of the way so the square is somewhere else. But the goal of a post transfer is to get the ball from one side to the other, in this case from the right to the left. And although this is not something you generally do all the time, there are times in pinball where you desperately need the ball on one side because the shot you need to make is on that side. And the post transfer is a really clean way of getting the ball from one side to the other. And so keeping control is very important. That is an example of what's called a live catch, where you grab the ball in the flipper from motion and then cause it to stop. So let's aim for something. You can hit stuff, right?
Yeah.
You're a champion.
Why don't we hit this core shot?
All right, we're gonna hit the green shot in the middle there. Hit it! Oh yeah! And around the ramp. Combo, 2, 3. No, missed the 3rd shot. But this game is one of flow and of control. So the goal shots are pretty far away, but the ball comes screaming back at you, and you notice there, you didn't flail away to try and flip the ball away from danger. The goal when the ball's out of control is to just get the ball back in control. And Kaylee is a pretty great shooter, and that move he just did there is what's called a dead bounce. So what's a dead bounce?
Yeah, basically, you have the opportunity to not flip when the ball is hitting the flipper, and you can get the ball to transfer from one side of the game to the other, and get the ball in position on the flipper of your choice. And so as you're making strategy decisions in these machines, you may want the ball on one flipper or the other, and the choice not to flip is a really crucial part of getting the ball where you want.
Yeah, it deadens the momentum of the ball. And so a ball out of control and moving fast, you'd think, oh, I gotta flip it away. But if you flip it away, you're just gonna put it back in more danger. Boo, you stink. No, sorry. All right, so this is a good opportunity to get 4 people from the audience here to come up and play. The winner of the game, we'll just have you play 1 ball each. We'll get some swag, and everyone will get some swag. So one over there, one way in the back, you over here, and you waited the longest to get in here, so come on up. And that was kind of in the middle there. You, yes. All right. So we got one bowl each for you guys. Again, I apologize about the camera situation. I hope you get a feel for what we try to do with the top-down perspective. This man can shoot. This is. Hey, are you a professional or? All right. All right. So, trying to keep the flippers down as possible is very good, because if your flipper is up, you can't do anything. It's only when your flipper is down that you can push a button to control it. And half the time you use the flippers, you end up using them to stop the ball instead of move the ball. So we got 1.6 million for that first player, which, depending on what pinball game it is, can be awesome or nothing. Oh, you got it, ball save, still going. Games in the last 15 years have put basically a 5 to 10 second timer on them so that you can get the ball back if you lose it that quickly. So don't walk away, and don't show my butt. Come on, what's that? And we'll talk next about what strategies you can employ when playing a game like this and what to look for if you're walking up to a brand new machine. And that was a really good move right there. So the idea of grabbing the ball and trying to get it under control out of a kick out or out of a return, that's exactly what you want to do. It might be holding up for player 1 here. We got player 4. And players 2 and 3, you lose, so you get little bits of swag. Thanks. Nice move there. That was pretty. So you want to there just let the ball come to a complete stop, because you can. You're not in a hurry here. So just, wait for it to come to a complete stop. Nice try. All right, so that's it. Player 1, you won the game. You get this Stern Pinball t-shirt. And we'll give you guys stickers and swag. Here we go, more swag. All right, so do you want me to play and you talk, or how do you want to do? All right, you play. Fine. All right, so what Kaylee's going to do next here, because I can force him to do whatever I want now because I'm talking, we're going to make him shoot for the yellow lights. Typically on a pinball machine, you look for goals that are the same color. And things that are the same color generally all produce the same outcome. So there are 6 yellow lights lit up, and maybe yours at the Price is Right, I don't know. But if he makes enough yellow lights, it will then light a yellow light in the lower right corner for light cycle multi-ball. So there's one. And the different yellow lights are available. They shut off after you claim them, so you have to make different sets of shots. All right, you gotta make one, you know. Hitting posts is no good. There's one to the right here that's a little hard to see, but the ones on the left are generally easier to shoot. There we go. 3. That was a good chain of shots there. There's 4, and 4 lights the multi-pulse, and he pops it over. You saw there, as it went to his right flipper, he just held up the flipper and let it roll across the other side. You don't always have to shoot for one side. That's freaking loud now, I don't know what. And during this is a 2-ball multi-ball, and during multi-ball, the goal of this is to continue shooting yellow shots. What Kaylee just did is an example of what's called a cradle separation, where you have 2 balls on the same side. It's not helpful. Notice what he's doing. That's exactly what you want, because now, nice shot. Hey, come on. That was good. Now you're in a position where you have complete control. You can choose what you want to shoot for. In this case, Kaylee will probably use the left flipper to shoot through the right-hand side. Is that what you're doing? Or what? No? Whatever you're doing. I don't care. All right. And you can just take shots, and as long as that other ball is still there on the left, there's kind of not much that can go wrong other than going back to regular play. And Kaylee just pushed the machine to make the ball go where he wanted it to that time as well, taking a warning.
You got me. Another customer. Let's go.
So here comes a... did you get a super there? Whatever. It's got points. So notice there's a huge amount of patience. You'd think multi-ball is chaos. It's total chaos. There's 3 balls going around the whole time. And you want to actually control that chaos as best as you can. So we'll see another example of a cradle separation here. He's going to tip the right flipper up a little bit, try to get that ball just enough motion that it causes one of the 2 balls to carom over the left. Here it goes. That's it. You suck. No. All right. So that's one of the goals here, and we'll go ahead and talk about one more goal, the green Cora shot that Kaylee's been making a few times. It's a little hard to see. It's in the back left. Oh yeah, we have a little camera. Sweet. So if you make that green shot enough times, you will light the other multi-ball. So some of these goals are explained on the card that each game has, but a lot of them are not explained, and you have to figure them out either by playing or by watching other people play. He's now made enough green shots, but lost the ball. We also have a set of tutorials on the Papa website for most modern games, including Tron. So you can watch someone play Tron very skillfully while there's an audio explanation of what the goals are and how to do it. So for other games like Addams Family, Funhouse, AC/DC, Metallica, lots of modern stuff as well as classics, those tutorials are ongoing. And it really is due to the power of being able to record and broadcast in HD that this is possible. 5 years ago, it would not be possible to make these videos, and now there is. He's entered the green multi-ball, which is called Cora multi-ball, and there's a target at the middle, the yellow target, that adds balls. So it can be up to 4 balls in play, and that's where we are now. So he's got 4 balls out instead of 2 from the previous multi-ball, and now the 2 important shots are the same green shot he had been making all the time, as well as a tiny little shot up in the upper right called Gem. And I don't know if you can bring the camera over in that direction. Oh! All right, now you're just showing off. Are you the world champion? No, I am. She's an eyesore. Oh, this is great play by Kaylee. And notice again, patience there, and look at that carom allows the ball to deaden its momentum. And then you basically just, get that back. Oh! And you can see the machine kind of fade to black there while he was doing that. That's a warning. The game lets you have 2 warnings on a turn, and then on the 3rd hit, it tilts you. It ends the ball. I played for years thinking that tilting the game and moving the machine was illegal, and you weren't supposed to do it under any circumstances. But it's an absolute must. You've got the control to physically move this machine and push balls where you want them to go if they're not behaving. So there are rubber posts around the out lane there. Oh, you blew it. Get that ball back. No. You stink. Nudging the machine and moving the ball into position is a very important maneuver on lots of games, including Tron, and saving the ball from the out lane. All right, we got a question from the audience. Say it again.
When you're nudging it, do you want to hit the right side of the machine to make it go right or to make it to go left?
Yes. Nudging. Same direction or opposite direction? Basically, my answer is yes, because it's so dependent on the situation, and it's primarily dependent on the motion the ball already has. So, for example, a ball may be moving towards an out lane so fast that the only way to push it is to push towards the out lane even further and get it to bounce off the wall and back out. After a tilt, it starts over on the next ball with the new ability to go and do 2 warnings. So yeah. But if the ball is slowly moving, I can push the machine in the opposite direction and bump the ball out. Ideally, you get those in-lane, out-lane areas on the right side and on the left side, and those are the places that most balls drain. Ideally, you want the ball never to even go over into that area, but when it does, you've got to be ready. In competition play, they will tighten the tilts, they will remove some of the rubber posts, they'll just basically make it as difficult as they possibly can. What Kaylee's doing here is another example of a pass maneuver from one side to the other called an alley pass, and that was a tip pass, but that's, you basically send it off the very edge of your flipper into the other side. Are you trying to set up a side drain? Because I can arrange that. Here, I'll put the ball in trouble. Go. Ah, shit. All right, so we're going to have 4 more people come up, and what we'd like you to do, that was a great example of a live catch. We'll talk about other catches shortly, but a live catch basically meets the ball at the very end of the flip. So the ball comes, the flipper comes, and they deaden each other's momentum right at the moment of impact, and the ball just dies right on the edge. Oh, that was okay, but the other one was cooler. All right, so let's get 4 more up here. We got 1, 2, way in the back row, 3 over here in the very corner, and 4. And the winner will get some swag. If you do an awesome save or a catch, we'll give you a back translate instead from a game. Shake the machine, come on!
Imagine. This battle's spectacular.
Stern, who makes Stern and Jersey Jack are the 2 manufacturers of pinball machines right now. Stern's latest game is Metallica. They've also done AC/DC, Avengers. You see Tron here. They did Batman. They do a lot of movie licenses and music licenses. Basically, the types of things people would collect and have at home. That was a nice shot there. Good shot. Don't forget the extra flipper you have. There's a 3rd flipper at the top that is very easy to ignore if you're sort of newish to pinball. You might not even know that 3rd flipper's there. That was a good ball. All right, swag this man. And what do you got? 591? Yeah, could work. Could hold up. Questions?
Why was he flipping the opposite flipper several times quickly when he had it on the other one? So he would go tap, 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 tap.
So the question was, what about the tapping of the opposite flipper? And you can explain that because you're one of the few people who does it.
And it works. Yeah, why don't we talk about that? So, everything in these games is driven by an electromagnet. You basically got a coil of wire, and that energizes and pulls on a metal rod to move everything that changes the path of the ball in this game. So your flippers are working that way. Those slingshots that just fired and caused our contestants drain here, and the coil that put the ball into the shooter lane. And so that causes a magnetic pulse under the play field. And down by the flipper area, the magnetic pulses from each flipper is going to affect anything metallic down in that area. So when I have the ball on one flipper and you activate the opposite side, you create a magnetic pulse there, and that will cause the ball to chatter on the flipper. And when that ball chatters, it's losing some of the normal force, pressing downward into the flipper rubber, and it's going to break friction with the flipper rubber. And so the ball will end up with a lot of spin on it. And as the ball is rolling towards the drain in the center, you can break that friction, break that spin, and keep the ball on the flipper better. So that's what it's all about with changing the chatter on the flipper that's on the opposite side.
Yeah, it's normal force is where you lost me there. But no, absolutely. Different ways of detonating the momentum of the ball exists, and that's great right there. Just come into a complete stop, and then you can choose where you want to go. Nice shot there, and oh, you got screwed over there. But you should have grabbed the ball with your hand by reaching in. How do we do? All right, the winner is player 2. And we got swag up number 4 here. Thanks so much. All right. Yeah, go ahead. All right, so we're going to talk now about game strategy and the risk reward you end up choosing to play in a game. So Kaylee's just going to put the ball in a flipper to get started. And basically, there are shots in the game that are deliberately built to mess with you. In particular, in this game, there's a yellow bank called a recognizer, and that thing is set up directly in front of you, and it's going to send the ball right back at you at high speed. So if you're trying to play well, you want to avoid that. The game might require you to hit it at some point, but if you can dodge that and make ramps that return the ball to your flipper, you're going to be better off. A lot of games, important, popular ones, put the most drainy shot right up the middle, like a fun toy to hit. And then players hit the toy, they lose their ball, and the game makes money. In this case, that toy now has a spinning disc in it as well, which rotates the ball and sends it especially out of the way in odd ways. So everybody can see that as he gets it in there. Sometimes it sends the ball back normally, but it sends it straight back out at full speed. Other times it will rotate in there and then come out with spin and go in odd directions. So he gets a reward if he can do this, I think, like 9 times or something like that. So that's a good example of a drop catch. And the goal of a drop catch is to deaden the momentum like that and then come to a complete stop. Ideally, you want to always come to a complete stop, and that was him. He wouldn't have saved that ball if he didn't shake the machine to the left to push the flipper into the way. And this, I feel, is one place where pinball will really never be replicated. Even with pinball as you see it on iPads and on PS3 and so on, the physical nature of the machine lets you do things that you just would not be able to do with any video game. And all of the reactions and timing are so tight that even the people making those video games, they're trying to get those right, but they can't. Because 60 frames per second and the latency between a TV and your controller, those are both way too long to fully replicate the experience of flipping the flippers. Oh, he's back to that again. Go ahead.
Is there an advantage to flipping the machine when it's bouncing on bumpers? Like, how do you only tilt the machine when it's coming down, you're about to lose the ball?
Yeah, the question was, when do you move the machine? Is it okay to move the machine at other times? And absolutely, it actually, in that case, depends a little on the machine. Especially older games from the 60s and 70s, you want to move the machine even when the ball's at the very top, influencing where it's going to go. With Tron, the shots are made to feed other flippers. Like, anytime you make a shot, you're basically going to get the ball back at a flipper, except for that center recognizer that he hit. So as he separates, he's going to take a shot to Cora here with the right flipper. Nice, and then a side ramp. Miss the side ramp there with hip control, and then you're back under the same situation. And then you might have seen him moving the machine to push the ball upwards, and that actually caused him to tilt there because he had pushed the machine a little too hard, pushing forward repeatedly. Boom! Play better!
Kind of a two-part question. Does every machine give you 2 warnings? And the second part, is every machine the same amount of force to tilt it?
No and no. So there are machines that won't give you any warnings, especially games from the electromechanical era of just score reels. Basically, the idea of a tilt warning was invented in 1980, and then abandoned for a while, and then brought back again in the late 80s, and it's been basically part of pinball since the late 80s. But also inside the machine, whoa, this is light cam. What you're seeing there is a very gray image of the tilt bob, and that is a plumb bob that whenever it hits the edge of the circular ring that it's sitting inside, it will cause the game to issue a warning. So if you want to make the tilt tighter, you just gotta turn the bottom of that up, and you'll make it easier for that plumb bob, the way it's shaped, to hit the edge. If you want to make the tilt looser, you can just remove it. and play all day. But you can get away with all sorts of stuff on a loose tilt. Competition tilts are tighter than what you're seeing here. Typically, a push of about 1/4 of an inch maybe will be a full tilt, and then like 1/8 of an inch you'll get away with. So yeah, you can't. Don't do that. What are you doing? But there are moves that you can pull. Do you want to try the death save, or can I do it? Oh yeah. Go ahead.
All right, there's moves that are banned from competition, but everybody does them in public when you pay them for games. When the ball's going down the out lane where it's going to drain and injure ball, you can shove the machine and bounce the ball off the trough, off the drain there where the ball's going to end. And you can get it to pop back into play, and that's what Bowen's going to try and set up here. And we can see if he can, there we go! Look at that! 3/4 for this man.
So what you're doing there is you're using the geometry of what's under the game to push the game back in, to push the ball back into play. Under the game is a metal area that collects the ball, a drain, and until the ball falls into that hole at the bottom, it's not out. It's still your ball. So I mean, I'll tilt doing the next one as I had 2 warnings, but let's do it again.
All right, let's see if Bowen can pull
Let's start over.
Oh, start over. No tilt warnings.
Oh, it's too much? Okay.
All right, see if Bowen can give it a try. Oh, nope.
Nope.
All right, let's see if he can one more shot at it. Oh, and it almost came back in.
All right, let's do it again.
Good shot. All right. One more try here. Hey, wait, this isn't a death save. What are you doing?
I'm just turning out the ball save so it doesn't kick another ball out. So it's over here. Yeah. Done. Oh!
Hey! A hand for Bowen.
All right, what's we doing? All right. Want to take it back over? Other questions?
It's always been on my list to own a Pinball game, but I've always heard like they're hard to take care of. So for people that have these machines, like what's the care and maintenance like, and how expensive is it to keep up?
I own 2 pinball machines. Kaylee owns a lot more. Chase, you own a couple of pinball machines too, right? You want to talk about this? 4.
Is this mic on? Yeah, I have 4 machines. I have a Funhouse, Earthshake. Yeah, Funhouse is great. It's nice smacking balls in Rudy's face if you get that. Also Whirlwind, Earthshaker, and a Fire. I got involved in the hobby really since I was a kid, but really competitively about, I would say, 3 or 4 years ago, locally with the Seattle Pinball League. I joined up also with the Vancouver Regional Pinball Association up in Vancouver, BC. So, getting involved in pinball is really one of those things where you can't get with video games at all. You have something mechanical in front of you that you have direct control over what's happening. Maybe something about the physics, something about, hitting a steel ball and focusing on targets. It's really a lot of fun. And getting involved with Papa TV and the Kickstarter, really encouraging the hobby to get a lot more people watching it. And by the way, thanks for coming out today. It's really nice seeing all you guys here. So, I know Bowen.
What about the maintenance?
Maintenance. Oh boy.
No,
it's so easy. I'm mechanically inclined, but not super uber mechanically inclined. Last thing I heard about the latest Stern machines is about 7 miles of wire. Is that about right? Every machine. It's a ridiculous number. There's solenoids and targets and things that need to be soldered in there. And obviously there's also general maintenance and upkeep. Now, obviously a machine that you might find in a bar or a normal arcade needs to have upkeep. Cleaning of the play field, because obviously as the ball travels around it, it brings dirt everywhere, and it will tear up the play field. If you've probably been out on location and seen a machine, it can be really, really dirty, and that's unfortunate. Now, the great thing about like Bobby's machines, for example, at Full Tilt, is he's a player and he's also an operator. He cares about the machines and people having a good, positive experience playing. Basically, as far as your own upkeep and maintenance, It's not hard. I mean, you just can't be afraid to get in there and get your hands sturdy. That's the most important thing. Replacing the rubber bands and on the flippers and, occasional solder work. It's not so bad, but it's pretty simple.
Yeah, I am not mechanically inclined at all, and I have 2 games at home, and it's the amount of play is much lower than it is in an arcade, so the level of maintenance you need to do on a daily or weekly basis is basically nil. And there's people locally who you generally can get them to fix your stuff for a beer. So find someone who's good at it and that will do it for you. And if not, there are plenty of services that will help out. I can change the light bulbs, but that's about all. Let's get 4 more people up here to play one more time for swag, and we'll increase the swag here. Go ahead, 1, 2 up there, 3 over here. Anybody in costume? All right, that's you. You're in costume. Come on up. Science boy. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Okay, next time then.
I couldn't be in there all the time.
Okay, guys. Let's do a couple other questions while we have these guys play off. Go ahead.
Actually, I have a lot of questions, but I'll start with this one. Do each of you remember the first table you ever played?
I do, but not by name, by features. Like, I was 6 years old playing it in Miami Beach, Florida, and I remember this game where there was a big white light in the upper left corner, where if you hit the white light, the game would go ballistic. And it was impossible to shoot the friggin' white light, but you tried, and then you failed, and it was 20 years later that I found out that was a game called Sharpshooter from 1979 or 1980, whatever it was. And Roger Sharp was the designer, and I found out by meeting the designers, like, that was his game that I was playing. The picture of the guy on the game that I was playing at age 6 is that guy's picture. And now here I am playing with him, playing pinball with him. It's just it's a great community. Either you guys remember?
My first experience was with Earthshaker. That's actually the first machine I ever owned as well. It was in 1989. I was living in the California Bay Area, and I would go play miniature golf at this small little arcade, and they had one pinball machine, and it was Earthshaker. And then a couple of months later, if you lived in the San Francisco Bay Area, they had a major earthquake, which, some coincidence, earthquake-themed machine and a major earthquake. But that's really what got me into it, because the whole machine, it was the first ever machine that would actually physically shake. It had a shaker motor in it when you locked the ball. So that's what really got me hooked into it. And when I bought my first machine, it had to be an Earthshaker.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that, like a lot of people, I discovered pinball as a kid just playing it when my family was on an outing in a bar, and I played a game called Blackwater 100, which is themed off of a motorcycle race. And I was 5 years old, and this game basically just has plastic mountains and dirt all over it. I don't know. I thought I was playing motorcycles and thought it was pretty cool, so I liked the motorcycle game.
If you were to practice to have the ball jump from flipper to flipper like in an arcade, is there a set time limit to where you could practice that to the point where the game just goes, okay, if you're not going to do anything and just flip back and forth, well, is there a timer for that? And two, how tightly do they regulate the game being balanced, like literally physically balanced during competition?
So for the first question, it depends on what's going on in the game. The game can offer goals that are timed goals. And in Tron, one goal is to make several shots consecutively, which they call the combo. So if you can make 3 in a row, you would get more points for making 3 in a row than you would getting them separately. So it encourages you to play fairly quick, but you can still grab the ball and basically hold on to it as long as you want to, just to get a sense of where you are and what you want to do next. And I think that's also something that is interesting about pinball being a one-player game. And in tournaments, you play against other players, but you're all really playing against the machine and trying to put up the best score you can. Competition machines are usually set up very, 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 very balanced. A player, very nice ball there. Oh, get that man a Metallica. That's a Metallica victory right there. Metallica Translite for the best score of the day so far on the ball. Nice job there. Kurt! there was a player who said, hey, I think this is leaning to the right, and the tournament director was like, no, it's not. And the tournament director went up to measure it and found it was leaning 0.1 degrees to the right. And the player was able to notice, based on the timing of the flips and how easy it was to balance a ball on either flipper, that it was easier to balance a ball on the right than it was on the left, and that the game was just very slightly out of balance. That can be, the rug can cause that. So just moving the game around or re-leveling it, there are leg bolts, and you can move the leg bolts as high or as low as you want. Games in tournaments are typically very steep as well. So they steepen it up, they will oil it up, make it nice and slick. It's basically, if anyone's been in a bowling league, it's kind of like the difference between playing in a bowling league and playing in the Professional Bowlers Tour, or playing golf in a municipal course versus at a PGA tournament. You can still play the same game fundamentally, but the game has been set to its maximum possible difficulty, and players are still able to pull off some sick scores and some great play in those environments. What you saw from the video of the World Championships, those are games being played with basically no practice, and only one game. That your game is your game. No restarts, no extra balls, and 4-player matches to try and determine the world champion. We do a little bit more with the skills here. What do you want to go for, Kaylee? All right, make some combos. Do some good stuff. Make people go ooh and ah. Do awesome stuff. I don't know. I'll keep walking around for other questions.
If you wanted to get better, what single 1 or 2 flipper skills would you concentrate on? Say you had like almost no flipper skills. Like, what would you learn?
So the very first flipper skill that I would practice carefully is the dead bounce. The ability to just let the ball bounce off to the other side. In fact, I recommend to players try to play with one hand, because you'll get an appreciation for what you can do. So, hey Kaylee, flip something and then don't flip again. Just let it bounce off and see many times it bounces. Bounce, bounce. Well, that's not a good example. Bounce. I mean, it's very often that the ball will bounce 2 or 3 times. If they have that dead bounce, let him have the ball on the other side. He's playing one-handed right now. There we go. This made more sense. And that's a live cast. That live cast is real important if you're playing one-handed, because you're just stuck. The other flipper skills I would really practice is just getting the ball to a complete stop. So you have unlimited time. Get the ball to a complete stop. And then you can make your decisions from there. A shot from a complete stop is always more accurate than a shot on the fly.
A slightly off-topic question. What are your thoughts about pachinko, and how does it work in pachinko, like Japanese pinball?
I really don't have an opinion on pachinko. I mean, it's cool. Actually, before flippers came along, basically pinball was pachinko, because you just fire the ball into play, and then wherever it goes, it goes. Pachinko also doesn't let you move the machine around, which is still an important skill. So I think that pinball is definitely more skillful. There is some skill in pachinko about the timing of when to send balls, but it's definitely a very different kind of experience. One-handed multi-ball? You getting one-handed multi-ball? Oh yeah, here we go. That was impressive.
Just related to getting into the ball, are there any shots that you can't make from a dead stop?
There are shots you can't make from a dead stop, but those are relatively rare. And the times you wouldn't want to make it from a dead stop are times like this, where he's not going to want to dead stop a ball right now, although that is a good nice thing.
Also, unrelatedly, I've seen a lot of older machines modded with like color LCDs on the back. Like upstairs in the arcade, there's a TNG machine with like a color LCD. Is that like, tell me about that.
Well, the lights in the game get replaced with LED lights, and a lot of newest games use all LEDs. The new Wizard of Oz is all LEDs, for example. And some people do it. I don't know. I really don't know why they do it, to be honest. It looks cool, and it actually runs cheaper, because LEDs are generally less expensive to operate. So some people with arcades will put LEDs to lower their electric bill because the game is on continuously. Others will do it just to make it look cool, like we'll put green over here and blue over there and red over there and get whatever. So there's a very heavy modding community in pinball for games like Twilight Zone and Star Trek and kinds of games that people are just really into as a concept. Are you still playing one-handed?
Yeah, he's showing off.
Yeah, whatever. Nice job.
I was just wondering, in terms of tournament play, are there certain machines that are preferred, and are there certain machines that are not, like, maybe hated, or at least not preferred by players?
What's nice is that I think that player style determines games you love and games you hate. I have a list of games I hate, and yet there are other players, including Kaylee, who will love those same games because their skill set plays into that. The best tournaments are ones that are run on multiple games, where you have to play several games back to back, and then use that to determine the winner here. Games I hate, something like basically something old. I'm not great on the oldest stuff, but other players are very strong on it. But playing the older games really forces you to get better at the nudging skills. It's a very different skill set. So Papa World Championships runs on games from all eras. And they force the player to figure out, oh my God, dude.
Simultaneous events at the end. Very